Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning in some places here in the United States. It's afternoon here in Boston, and it's actually evening time over in Europe. And we're starting a little earlier today than our usual 8 p.m. Eastern time because my guest today is over in Europe, in the Netherlands. And so we started 8 o'clock. It's about 2 in the morning for her. So we are starting early afternoon here in the United States, the Boston area, so that I guess Marja Saas can join us tonight at an hour where she is fully awake. So we're in for a treat tonight. Let me just get started by saying welcome. My name is Kim Adams, and I'm the host of Vital Conversation, Dialogues on Living and Dying Well, and want to welcome all of you tonight. Many of you this is your first webinar, so welcome, and many of you, welcome back. You've been with us before. And so, you know, this is an opportunity that I bring various topics around death and dying and end of life and grief and loss in a forum like this, a safe space where there's an opportunity for people to kind of learn some new information, to share, and to get some support if needed. So you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a chat function. So that's your way to engage with Marja and I tonight. So go ahead and type in now where you're listening in from, and also just know that this is live technology. Things happen. We don't anticipate any issues tonight, but certainly if your screen freezes or Marja or I drop off, we will get back on as quickly as possible. I had put a sticky note in the chat to say that this is also being broadcast live on YouTube. So if in fact you can't get your screen to act properly here, go to that YouTube link and you can watch us crystal clear. Everyone will be getting the replay sent automatically. So I know that there's a number of folks here in the States especially that need to work today, but that will be watching the replay. So I appreciate that. And so just, go ahead and type in and let us know where you're listening in from. I think that's it on housekeeping. I'll share more at the end about working with me and my next guest for next month and more of what I do. So make sure you stick around to the end because we do have some great information to share tonight. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Marja Saas. So Marja is a certified coach and a licensed therapist, and she's from the Netherlands. And her real lifetime journey of discovering inner growth started at the age of 40. When she had a huge wake-up call then. She was diagnosed with cancer. And so a difficult and rich year followed for her after that, and she survived. This all happened in 10 months. These months were intense in everything that happened, and now 14 years later, she can truly say that that experience taught and brought her so much. It made her aware that she always has a choice in what she does and how she lives her life. And through that journey, she's found her essence, and she now lives from there, and that journey continues. And as I said, as a coach and a therapist, and also as a friend and colleague of mine, Marja and I met through transformational presence work with Alan Seal, which many of you know I do work with Alan as well, and Marja is a graduate of his program and an active participant in our community. So we'll be talking a little bit about grief and loss and Marja's transformation and transition and finding her essence from a little bit different perspective tonight and bringing in some of the transformational presence pieces. So as a coach and a therapist, she brings heart and soul, and she works with individuals and organizations to support them in finding and living their essence as well. One of the discoveries on her journey was that she really found that she loves to work with people in times of loss and change. And so she works with the whole human being and enables them, because she, number one, trusts in their inner wisdom and helps them to trust and find and work with their own inner wisdom to help that allow to be the lead and then for us to follow that. So big welcome to Marja. Welcome, Marja.
Well, thank you, Kim, for this wonderful introduction. I'm so grateful being here with you in the Vital Conversations in your webinar. And also I want to welcome all the participants tonight that are listening and also participating in what we are talking about, what we will share. And so thank you very much, Kim, for this opportunity. And a big welcome for all the participants and listeners.
Great, great. Well, and I see we have Colette here from Seattle, and we have Jacqueline here from Ontario, and Jane has joined us with open arms, and we know Jane is in South Texas, so welcome everyone. And I know as people continue to join us, they'll just let us know where they're calling in or listening in from. And also, any questions, comments, this is an opportunity for you to really have a dialogue here. Okay, so Marja, so you heard the words, what would you do if your doctor said, we cannot cure you anymore? So what happened from there? So start us on your journey. You heard those words, we cannot cure you anymore.
Yes. When you say that, that I heard that, and I'm back at that moment, and I'm seeing the doctor standing next to my bed because I was in hospital, and she said it to me, and I was in tears, and I know I was listening to her. I was asking her questions, and at the same time, I heard that voice inside of me, from which I now say it was the voice of my soul, and I call it my inner voice, that was saying, and now you have to do it yourself. And I, maybe I heard that voice before, but I never was so aware of what it said. And now I instantly knew, okay, I have to listen. I have to do it myself. So that's where that was I think that was my wake up. My wake up in that I could do something as well. That yes, of course, the doctors are saying, okay, you need radiation or you need chemo or that kind of things. And you can do your own things in meditation, just listening what your inner voice is telling you. And that's what happened when I heard those words.
Wow. And so prior to that, what was your experience with your inner voice?
Well, when I go back from now, when I look back, I know I heard that inner voice before, because before I had the diagnosis cancer, I knew I wasn't on the right place at my work. I worked too many hours, and I knew I wasn't on the right way. So I didn't listen. I just stayed in a place, my work, where it felt safe. It was an environment that I felt, and I know I didn't feel good there. And I just didn't listen to my inner voice that it wasn't the right environment, that I had to do something else. I just didn't listen. Like playing safe. Well, I played safe.
You played
safe. I just
safe.
didn't listen. I didn't dare to. And I didn't know because I wasn't aware of the fact that I played it safe. I just wasn't aware.
Yeah, that's a big piece that we're going to talk about tonight, is kind of the awareness, because with awareness comes choice. Yeah. And how many people stay safe, right? Play small, stay safe. And what does that crush within them? Their spirit, their energy. Yeah, talk a little bit about that. When you play safe, what happens?
Well, when you play safe, when I go back to myself, when I play safe, I think I am safe. And there are signals, there can be signals in one's body, like you feel something in your throat that doesn't belong there, or in your stomach, or all kind of signals in your body. When you think you are safe and you aren't, you stay somewhere that's giving you a safe feeling, and you just don't dare to step out. I called it a week ago stepping out of my comfort zone, because
Mm.
it's in your comfort zone that you play safe.
Mhm.
Then then it's yeah, no. And
Yeah.
I just don't want to play safe anymore. And
Hmm.
that's for me, it was really something of being aware that I have a choice. That's so important. Listening to my inner voice and knowing I have a choice. Yes, I can choose. I can do that. And I just don't want to anymore.
Mm. Mm. So, in terms of now listening to your inner voice, and we certainly can get through a whole, but just kind of on the big picture, what has that opened up for you? What has that done for you now that you tapped into at that critical point, right? 14 years ago when you heard those words. What has this enabled for you now? What's different? What's it opened up for you?
Yeah, I would say life. It
Ah,
opened up life for me. You know, when it opened life. You know, I was a very shy girl, and playing safe, and at the moment I heard that voice, and now you have to do it yourself. It opened life for me, because I started the visualization, the meditation, and all kind of other things. I went to see a therapist because I felt I needed that. And yes, also radiation was going on. So it was all there at the same time. And after 3 months, the radiation was there, what I did myself, and it gave me a feeling that I could do something for myself, that I wasn't so depending on the doctors. I was doing something for myself. It's a kind of quality gave it to my life, and it enabled me to, yeah, to choose, to feel what do I need, and I only have to listen. I only have to listen to that inner voice, to that inner wisdom we all have. So
mm,
we only have to tap in,
mm,
listen, and follow, choose. Yeah.
yeah,
So it gave me life.
it
Yeah.
gave you life. I love that.
Yeah.
And Jane has a beautiful comment. Inner voice gives you inner choice. I love that. And you said it gave you life. Yeah, yeah. So, what shifted for you in terms of yes, you had this experience and being able to listen to your inner voice. But you had a choice, right? You could have crawled up in
Yeah.
the corner and said, not going to deal with it. You could have said, been angry that, oh, the doctor said there's nothing more they can do, but wanting to fight it. Um, so speak a little bit about one of the principles that you and I have both learned is about pushing against versus kind of flowing with life. And I think that that's a way of being that we can share with people that a lot of times people are just not even aware of that, but pushing against versus flowing with. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. When I push against something, then it's from resistance. That's what is popping up for me right now. And then I push against it, um, and I don't accept it. Then um, then I don't go with it. It's flowing with. It. Then you are in the flow. You see me doing this with my head. It's
Yes.
really going with the flow. And I thought before our conversation now, I thought about something that just popped up, and maybe it's interesting to bring it in now, because when I was 2 weeks in hospital, someone said there, you have to accept that you have cancer.
Mm.
And I know, and I think a lot of other people know that as well, that when you are diagnosed with cancer, it feels like a loss. And also a grief process follows.
Mm.
And acceptance follows at the end and not at the beginning. So you know, and I said, yes, I know I have to. And inside, I felt such an anger, and I didn't let to dare it come out. So I pushed against my anger of what she said.
Mm.
And you know, it's a grief process is something people can push against because it gives feelings. You know, you don't want to feel it, and the feelings are there, the emotions of a grief process.
Mm.
And when you flow with all the emotions and let them be there, flow with them. When you cry, you cry. When you're angry. When you need someone, you call someone or you go to somebody. And that's flowing with. And yeah, I learned that pushing against um, brings me further away from what I feel and who I am than flowing with.
Mm.
Flowing with is just, then I'm with myself and I flow with what is, whether that's grief, whether that's happiness, whether there are tears, whether there's joy. It's just what is.
Beautiful. You know, I love what you're speaking about, you know, kind of the what is, because you're not saying that flowing with is just throwing up your hands and just bobbing along the sea, but it's really about following the potential, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Following what's next, listening inside and being able to use your intuition, your inner voice, your inner guidance to guide you to the next step. And I
yeah,
love that you said when you push against something, you feel further away from where it is that you want to be. That's huge. Yeah. Oh, I think we might have lost Marja. I think we might have lost you, Marja, for a brief moment. Sometimes the internet connection across the pond is a little unstable there. So if Marja drops off, she'll come back on. Marja, are you there? Well, it seems like she'll probably jump off and come back on. But I think this is an important piece about kind of flowing with life and really being able to tap into our inner wisdom, our inner strength, our intuition, so that we can flow with things. Jane, I love what you're saying. Playing safe to playing big, which is believing in inner greatness. Yeah, what we're talking a lot about here is really trusting ourselves and trusting that we have the knowledge and the information inside of us. We just don't take the time to stop and actually listen and follow it. So, and there Marja's back. I just was
yes,
talking about, Jane had a beautiful comment about believing in our inner greatness. And so talking about the fact that we all have that within us, but we don't take the time because we're so busy doing that we don't take the time to listen. So maybe that gets us into being versus doing.
yeah, yeah. You know, being versus doing is um, now being your essence. You know, you introduced in the introduction. You spoke about living my essence. That I live my essence now, and I realized only 2 weeks ago that um, living my essence, yeah, it's also a bit out of my comfort zone because being in my essence, that's just being, and that's so quite normal, and just being my essence. And living my essence is also the doing. So it's yeah, it's contributing to life. It's participating in life. It's showing myself. It's letting myself be seen. Letting myself be heard in what I feel, in what I know. Share my inner wisdom with others, and that's also the doing. It's not only being, it's also the doing. And living is being and doing at the same time.
Mm, mm.
That's for me is the living.
Yeah, that sweet spot, right? Between the intersection between being and doing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And
Which
living from there.
yeah, living from there, which requires courage, which requires vulnerability, which requires a lot of those traits that people want to say, you know what, I don't want to show. I don't want people to see that. And then we're right back into, as you described earlier, that playing safe and being, shy and not wanting to express who you are. We're here with our gifts and talents, right, to really shine in the world. And I think, you say beautifully that it really starts with our inner knowing, our inner space. Yeah. Let's get back a little bit to the piece around grief that you were speaking of. Both you and I have tremendous amount of experience in this realm. And so we've spoken many times about using the energy of our emotions and not becoming our emotions. So talk a little bit about that, Marja.
Yeah, I realized it myself that I used to be my emotions. When I was sad, I was completely in tears and could stay in tears. And and that's okay, because we mustn't forget that if we need to cry, we need to cry. And I can cry sometimes for an hour when I just need to cry, and that's totally okay. And what I also discovered is that there are emotions around grief, but also around other things. But let's keep it to grief, where you have the tears when you're sad, when you lose someone, or when you get the diagnosis cancer, or other kind of losses there are. When you get angry because somebody left you in the before, that anger can be inside, and then you're only that anger. And when you can use the energy of this anger inside of you, and also when you can give it a voice that you can share with others what you feel, that's wonderful, because then you give it a voice, you give it space, and it's not only inside of you anymore. And what I discovered is that when you share it with someone, with a friend or with a coach or with your partner, or it doesn't matter, when you share, you give space to the things that are living inside of you. And that's also using the energy of you, because the energy is so powerful to use. And that's really, really wonderful. Yeah, it's really wonderful to do so.
Yes. As we both know, emotions are energy in motion. And again, here's the choice. I learned very young, which now that has shifted, but to just push it down. So we're back to the push against, flow with, to really stuff those emotions. But it's energy in motion. If we allow it to move through us, it dissipates. And as you say beautifully, we have the opportunity to use the energy from that to propel us forward. So really being able to give voice to it. And I love what you say. Share a little bit with our listeners about when you're working with individuals or groups, even folks within organizations, about how you work with them. Like if tears come, what are some of the things that you share, that you encourage them to do with those tears? Looks like Marja froze again. So while she's jumping back on, because I really want to hear what she has to share, let me just welcome Joe from Illinois, and Jacqueline and Julie. Jacqueline, I'm assuming you're from Toronto because you're hoping the Blue Jays win, but Julie is from Toronto, so welcome. Julie says, sharing creates validation for self and others. Absolutely, Julie. And also being guides, doing. Separation, being, and doing is artificial. Yeah, but so how often we are in this society that we live in, right, that's so focused on doing. But if we are being, that will in fact guide our doing. because if we really pay attention and listen in on what is important and what's showing itself and the potential, absolutely. So great. Marja, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back again.
All right. Excellent. Great. So in terms of if someone has tears, what do you encourage them to do with those tears?
Just to let them go. Let the tears come, because the tears has to tell their own story.
Mm.
And sometimes when I work with people, I just ask them, what if tears could speak? What would they say? What do they have to tell you? And yeah, just let them go. And also give them words, give them a voice. Let them tell you where they come from.
Mm. Now, how beautiful is that? I wonder how many people listening have ever had a therapist or a coach or a friend say, if the tears could speak, what would they say right now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's new. But it's a different way, but also, again, it just moves things more forward because it's about listening. The tears are there for a reason, right? They have something to share.
Yeah. And tears are so visible. And when I go back to my youth, that when I had tears, it was no, don't cry, we don't cry. And so I learned not to cry. And tears just want to be tears and want to get out and want to share their story. And
Mm.
sometimes maybe it's just because you have fun and then you have to cry. And there are tears that have to tell so many things of what is living inside of you, of pain and hurt, and just just let them speak. Let them
Mm.
speak and let them tell their own story.
Mm.
Because that's healing. Then you can heal yourself in those things that want to be healed.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of just getting a little clear on listening to our inner voice, one of the beautiful tools that we have that I know I work with, and I think you do too, let's share a little bit with our listeners about our head, our heart, and our gut, and how they work together, and how sometimes they don't work together, and those three intelligences that we tend to think it's just here in our head and our ego, when in fact there are two other sources of really vital information. So talk a little bit about those. Looks like Marja has left us again. Our apologies for technology. We're going with this. We're actually flowing with, as opposed to pushing against. And I'm sure Marja will jump right back in again. Excuse me. Continue with the comments. This is great connection here. Julie, Jane, this is great to see everyone connected here. And let me just check. Marja, are you back? No, she hasn't arrived back yet. So one of the pieces that, until she jumps back on, is, I want her to talk a little bit about these three, our head and our heart and our gut, which I think she's on right now.
Yes, I'm back again.
All right. So go for it, Marja. Okay. So the head, the heart, and the gut.
Yeah. I don't hear you anymore, Kim.
So share a little bit about how those three are important, and sometimes they're in alignment and sometimes they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. My head can say different things than my heart, and my guts. In my belly, in my guts has the feelings, and they want to be shared as well. And sometimes they say they don't say the same as my heart is saying or my head is saying. And just bringing them together by listening what they want to share with you, what my head is thinking about things. Let's say about when I just say grief, then my head can say, whoa, grief, that's, oh no, I don't want to talk about grief. And my guts can say, yes, I want to share because I'm in pain, or I feel sad, or I feel the anger. And, my heart has all the wisdom there is. It has the truth. And what I experienced in those working with the three intelligences, that the heart is bringing the head and the guts together so that we can bring them in alignment with one another, that they are connected. And that's so wonderful in working with the three intelligences, as we call them, the head and the heart and the guts. And it's all about listening to their wisdom, into what they have to tell us, what they have to share, and whether they feel fear, or whether they feel joy, or whether there is resistance. Just listen in what they have to share. And then we can, we can bring them together in alignment. And it feels so more connected in one another, in myself, when I am in alignment. And it's really wonderful working with those. And yeah, just listening to what they have to say.
Mm, mm. Yeah, so much we want to run with what our head says, right?
Yeah,
We want to run with
yeah,
what our head says because that's and as you said beautifully, we have our heart and our belly, which is our emotions. And really the piece which, I love to be able to help people to see is that we're not saying that one is better than the other, or more important, because the three of them need to work and they provide information, as you just beautifully said,
yeah,
for us. Our heart, as you said, that's has the big picture, right? That has the reason that we're here, the big picture. Our head has the ability to do the logistical, the five senses, the plan, all the organize. And so the two of them really need to kind of work together, because if we just go with the heart, we can be seen as kind of ungrounded and we just have the big picture all the time, but we never get to the nuts and bolts of
yeah,
what needs to happen. And if we're always in our head, we're just doing stuff that doesn't have a big picture view like the heart does. So I like to say, and I think our mentor, teacher, and friend Alan Seal says that the head, which is the ego, is the hands and feet for the soul, which is the
yeah,
heart, right?
yeah,
You need, or the captain of the ship is the heart, and the deck hands is the head, right? You need both to be able to kind of
yeah,
move and operate in the world. So, and then of course the emotions really give you a tremendous amount of information, which you're speaking about. In this context, we're talking about grief. So really the power of using the emotions. So what are some ways that you have found, Marja, to really be able to tap in and listen? What does that look like? How do you do it?
When I tap in,
Yeah, how do you do it? We're telling people to listen to their inner voice and tap in. How do they do
yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah. It's so easy to say, just tap in and listen to your inner voice. And you just have to be aware that you have an inner voice. And no, it's not always that easy. I don't pretend it is easy, and it's practice. It's practicing every time again. And even I, who say, okay, I'm living my essence, and yes, I'm practicing in living my essence. I'm finding my way in living my essence and discovering that. And yes, I have to tap into myself, in my quietness, in my stillness, as Alan calls it so beautifully. It's my stillness, going inside, focus on what is living inside me, and what wants to be said inside of me. So every time it's going to a place. You can do it by meditation, or just just find a way of yourself. You know, I go when I come downstairs. The first thing I do in the morning is go for a walk with my dog,
Mm.
and for me, that is tapping inside of myself because I walk, my dog is walking, it's quiet or not, and I can be just with myself and nature, and that's tapping into my.
Mm. I think we might have lost Marja again. Oh, are you back? We'll give her a second to see if she comes back on screen. Oh, seems like she's frozen. She'll jump back on. I loved what Marja just said. Oh, Marja, oh, she's gone. I love what she said about, just taking the time in the morning, just a walk, right? Being out in nature, going by the water, sitting quietly in meditation with soft music, without music, with a candle, anything that really just allows you to get quiet. And Marja's jumped back on. I was just sharing a couple of things that I loved about you said about just getting quiet. So whether that's morning meditation, quietly with music, a candle or not. But yeah, go ahead. So we heard, about you walking and just having that quiet time with your own self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there other ways
for
you
me,
found?
it's the walking. Whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon, it's just walking is for me the moment that I really take the time to go inside of me and just listen what is there. And and I can imagine that other people listen to music, meditate, or go to yoga class and find there the time to tap into their self. So everyone needs to find their own way, that if they want to go inside, just find the way that suits you, not somebody else, but only suits you, because then you can go inside and tap in. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, some people.
It's also listening to yourself, to what's suitable for you.
I love that you said that, because it's very individual.
Yeah.
Some people really want to be at the beach, and someone else says, I find, that peace and quiet walking in nature, in the woods.
Yeah.
So I think it is very individual. And I think our point is that find something that's going to work for you. Find something that's going to be able to allow you the time and the space. And we're not talking a huge time, right? Because I know I get that question a lot. Well, how much time? Start with 30 seconds, a minute, right? And you can build up from there. We're not saying, sit in a traditional yoga pose in front of a burning candle for 30 minutes.
No.
If that works, great. But for others, just start where you are. And so I think that's the beautiful piece.
Yeah, that's so important, just to be aware of that as well, that just do what you like to do, to go to the stillness or the quietness, or how you call it, and just be aware what suits you. That's really important.
Yeah, great. So we have a lot of people here on the call, so encourage people to, any questions, any comments for Marja, her experience, her living her essence now, and how she shares that with others. I'm just going to pop in a minute her website address, which I have to say, for those of us that are English speaking only, most of it is in Dutch. However, there is a profile page that Marja has in English, so you certainly can be able to read about her in English. So I will pop that in, and feel free to check out her website for more information as well. And certainly, if you're over in the Netherlands, or you can read Dutch, feel free to tap into that and connect with Marja. Yeah. So Marja, in terms of other things that are important today that you want to bring in?
Yeah, well, we shared a lot before this webinar, before this vital conversation, and it's what I believe is so important, that people just tap in and make contact with their inner voice, and really give it a voice also to their emotions. It's so for me it's so important, and working with people in my practice coaching, or it's when people can share their story, can share um, their emotions, their feelings, give it a voice. It's so important to move forward, and also that they know that they have a choice. They really have a choice to do that.
Mm.
You know, I know back then that if I didn't listen to my inner voice, I wouldn't be here anymore. As you said, I could go sit in the corner. So, no, the doctor said they cannot cure me anymore. And yes, I was very lucky. I still think it's a miracle. I'm alive. And, we call it second chances. And not everybody is so lucky as I to have a second chance in life. And listening to your inner voice can also bring you quality of life. And it's also the work you do in the end of life planning. It's giving quality to your life in preparing, whether you are young or old. We're all going to die. And just being prepared in arranging what you have to arrange. Just listen to that, do that. It's very important. It's very important. And just, looking at, I still feel lucky, as I said, that I'm alive. And that's the second chance. And I knew back then I had to do something with that second chance. I didn't get it for nothing. No, I got it. So I had to do something with it. And so I realized, okay, what am I going to do? So, and yes, I wanted to be the old me before the illness, and I wanted to go back to my old job, and I just couldn't. I didn't fit in anymore because I wasn't the same as the Marja I was before the diagnosis of cancer. So, being aware of that, I could step out of my comfort zone and did my studies, and now, okay, becoming a coach and therapist. It's so important to listen and just
Marja. Wow, she was just sharing at such a beautiful point in time, right? And so the opportunity that she had of a second chance and that she really tapped into, and the fact that she couldn't go back as much as she wanted to her old life, her old job.
also
Oh, it sounds like she's trying to come back in.
knowing will happen. That's as well.
Oh, I think we lost her again. But as she was saying, and so really, I think the opportunity for all of us, right? The opportunity here for all of us is to say, where am I playing it safe? Where am I not stepping in and listening to my inner voice, my intuition, my inner guidance, and then following through and taking the steps? As I said earlier, it takes courage, it takes vulnerability, and we can do it. And so reaching out for support, but also being able to say, we don't need to wait for a cancer diagnosis to be able to then step into our essence. And so, Marja, I think you're back.
Yes, I'm back again.
Great, great. So yeah, I was just sharing with the listeners that, we all have the opportunity for all of us is to really listen to this. As much as you wanted to go back to the old way, you couldn't. And so now we don't need a diagnosis of cancer to be able to listen to our intuition and step forward with what that's calling us to be.
Yeah, no, that's true. We don't need a diagnosis. No.
Right. Yes. So let me just tap in. So Julie says, this is a timely message. Every day may be our last chance. There are no guarantees. Diagnoses that bring us to the brink of death as a real possibility, create that clarity like nothing else can. Wow, that's pretty powerful. And yeah, I would agree with that. Jane, how does the energy of second chance impact your decision making? Please describe your daily perspective. Ah, great question from Jane, Marja.
Yeah, Jane, thank you so much for your question. Um, it inspires me every day. And it's not always, I'm not perfect. And
Mm,
sometimes I just forget I had that second chance and I just live my life. And I am also very aware that I had that second chance. And um, so when I walk with my dog named Sparkle, um, I just I just am present in the walk. Um, my whole life changed in just being present, making choices from being present, making choices from listening to my inner voice, in listening to my body, um, sometimes it's just very small things, and the small things are most of the time the most, yeah, the huge things in life. It's so being aware of that second chance and that I'm here, also here for a reason, and just enjoying that, and doing what I have to do,
mm,
and just moving forward from that. And sometimes Kim and I spoke about it a lot of times, and feel the fear and do it anyway.
mm,
I feel sometimes the fear of doing something, and yes, okay, and do it anyway. So the fear is there, and yes, okay, it's there. And that's also, yeah, also from the second chance and not playing it safe anymore, but
mm.
just do it. Yeah, just do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, not playing it safe. And you said a really important word, which I think is important, plays into this, which it's been kind of an undercurrent, but presence. Use the word presence, right? Being present here right now, right? Feeling the ground under you when you're out walking with Sparkle, the dog, and just really being present. And what does that mean? Again, in such a doing society, we're just off racing to the next thing and we're not present. We're not hearing sounds around us. We're not observing the beauty around us. We're so busy doing as opposed to being. And again, it's that sweet spot of the doing and the being, where things magic happens. But being able to be in that place of just presence, whether it is through the meditation, whether it is through um, walking, whether it is through being at the ocean, whatever it is that works for you, but just being aware of those pieces. So I think that that's a huge piece, and we lost Marja again, but I just wanted to take off on that piece around presence that she spoke about. So great. Any other comments, questions? Feel free to type them into the chat. Let me just take a quick peek here. Yeah, Julie, back to your comment. There are no guarantees, right? Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. And so really being able to take what's important now and all these pieces that we've talked about today, to be able to bring those into who you are as you step out into the world. And it's not about perfection, right? As Marja said, she still has, we're all not perfect, of course. So it's not about perfection. It's just about putting one foot in front of the other. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Jane, no one is perfect, right? Sparkle is her joyful glow and her doggy to remind her of her inner being energy. What a gift. Yeah, Sparkle. I love to meet that cute little dog. I just see pictures of Sparkle on Facebook. So I think Marja is trying to get back on. So again, any questions, comments, feel free to type them in. We're going to get ready to wrap up in just a minute or so. Marja, if you're back, it looks like your microphone is muted. She still may be having some problems. Certainly appreciate, just let me take this moment for all of you that have joined us tonight. And again, like I said, I know a number of people will be watching the replay, just given but it's the middle of the day here in the United States. So people are working, but that's the beauty of the replay, that we have that option for people to watch it at their leisure. And everyone live here with us, and there's a number of people, thank you. You'll also get the replay as well. So Marja, are you back? No, she is not back yet. All right. So we will just continue. Let me just share until she jumps back on and we can get some parting words for her. That, yes, as Marja said, one of the pieces of my work is end-of-life planning and coaching with people regardless of their health status and regardless of their age. You know, as Julie said, every day may be our last chance. So why wait? You know, we plan for births, we plan for weddings, we plan for vacations. So let's plan that last chapter about what it is that you want. You know, we have the ability to really note down our wishes and give a gift to ourselves and also to our loved ones about what it is that we want for our end-of-life care, for our death, and for even after death, in terms of services or cremation or burial or green burial or organ donation, all those pieces that are important. And if they are locked within us, then no one knows what our wishes are. And so if we are not in a space and place where we're able to tell what our wishes are, we need to have those in writing, and we also need to have people know what those wishes are. So that's a lot of the work that I do way upstream before we get to talking about forms and documents, which are very important, because I just said if we don't have things written down, the people don't know. If we don't have conversations with people, they don't know what our wishes are. But we go way upstream and talk about what are our beliefs, what are our interests, what are our values, so that when we move to the place of what our end-of-life wishes are, then we have the ability to complete those forms, and we are in alignment with what our head and what our heart and what our gut says. So that's a lot of the work that I do, and I'm going to be doing actually a free webinar around this to get a little deeper, and if people want to work one-on-one and or in a group, we'll have that opportunity probably in November. I'm thinking that would be a beautiful gift for people to do for themselves as we come upon the end of the year around the holidays, a gift for self. So that is what I'm up to. And November 12th, which is a Thursday evening, we'll be back for our 8 p.m. free webinar. And I will be having Michael Bloom, who's a caregiver coach and a colleague and friend of mine. November is National Caregiver Awareness Month. And so we'll be having Michael on talking about the importance of caregivers recharging their energy. So if you or anyone you know is a caregiver, you'll definitely want to tune in to that on November the 12th at 8 p.m. And certainly you'll all get reminders of that in the registration link to be able to tap in if you're interested in that. So let me just check here. Jacqueline. All right. So it looks like she was having some problems with the webinar. Jacqueline, just know that you will get the replay and it will be clear. So sorry about that you have only accessed the last few minutes. It could definitely have been some issues here with the internet, but I know that I just checked my screen, that we have been broadcasting live, so you'll get the clean replay. Jane says, a beautiful session, Kim and Marja. Thank you so much, Jane, for that beautiful words. And it looks like that Marja is not able to jump back on. So I'm sorry we're not going to hear her parting words, but I hope that you have gathered some valuable nuggets today in the conversation the dialogue that we've had around second chances. You don't always get them. And here's Marja right here. Perfect timing. As I was just getting to wrap up and say that, sorry we wouldn't hear your parting words, but I hope that they got some nuggets. So perfect timing for you to jump in and give some, what do you want the listeners, any final words that you want people to know and take away?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank them for being here with us tonight and just taking the time to listen and to participate. And and what I want to give away to them is that please contact with your inner wisdom and listen to your inner voice, and even if you don't know what it brings you, just 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 do it. Just you'll never know what it brings you if you don't go for it. Move forward with it, and just make that choice. It's so important, and just see and wait what it brings you. It's yeah,
Mm,
that's what I like to take them away from today.
beautiful. Well, thank you, Marja. Yeah, I think, the gold nuggets that, we've shared tonight, hopefully people will take the action, right? That will really tap in and then be able to move forward, as you said, to be
Yeah,
listening to their inner wisdom, because it's invaluable, right? There's so much to tap in.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, Marja. I just so appreciate you and who you are, and that you were willing to come on and live your essence, right? This is one example, to be seen in the world, and
Yeah.
and just maybe just talk for just a moment about the work that you do with people around this and helping them find their essence. That would be great for people to hear. Or not. I think that, well, seems like she's frozen up again. Oh, maybe she's back.
Yes, I'm back. Do you
Okay,
hear me,
great,
Kim?
great. So yeah,
Yeah,
she,
I'm back. Yeah. Yeah, the work what I do is working with people in loss and grief. I also, that's the most important part that I do, because I am so aware that it's not only a loss, it's also a change that can be felt as a loss. So it's working with people and people in organizations, and a loss is not only losing a dear one by death or by divorce. It's also when you lose a pet, or when you um, have to move to another place because of having another job, or losing your job, or in an organization there is a reorganization, and you want to stay with the old, and you cannot, and that can be felt as loss as well. So it's so important that people recognize the feelings of a loss, and finding their own way of grieving. We are all unique, we're all special, and we all have our own way of grieving. And that's what I do with people, that they find their own way of grieving, so that they learn to live with the loss, and that they give a voice to what they feel. And yeah, that they can embrace themselves with what is inside of them and with what they feel. So that's the work I do, and I just love it. I just love it. And thank you, Kim, for this opportunity of having me as a guest in your vital conversations, because it's so beautiful and so wonderful what you do. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
well, you're very welcome, and thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
great, great. So that will wrap us up for tonight. Thank you again, Marja, and we hope that November 12th, I'll see all of you back here as I have Michael Bloom on, and we talk about caregivers and recharging your caregiver energy. So again, just double checking. Julie, wow, so very true. So many different categories of loss and styles of grieving. Yes, Julie. We tend to think about death, but as Marja just pointed out, there's many, many ways with loss and with change that grief happens. So yeah, excellent. Jane says, hugs and love to all. Be well. Thank you, Jane. Right back to you in Texas.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We so appreciate hanging in there with us tonight with a few minor little technology things, but we flowed with it. So I think it turned out beautiful, and there's some great nuggets here to take with you, and just move forward and listen to that inner voice. And we'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.